And today we're going to talk about a topic that is really close to my heart, and that is water, particularly hydration. And this is a vast, vast subject. And one of the videos that I'll refer to, I think there's a great movie you can check out there. It's called Water, the Great Mystery. And it's the top water researchers from all around the world. And they talk about the aspects of water. And what they do say is this, is the structure of your water is more important than the chemical compounds. So let's go back to our diagram. So remember on our awesome formula, air is the first thing that you need. Now we're focused on water. We're going to go back to our cell. Okay? So your cells are made of mostly what? Water, of course. It's water inside and water outside. Okay, now there's a very big difference about these two areas. Okay, and how this is put in your body or how it's distributed in your body makes a big difference on the effectiveness, to, number one, to how cognizant you might be, like how sharp, whether you're tired, whether you're able to absorb the foods that you're eating or the nutrients or the vitamins, or whether you're able to remove waste. And the reality is that your body is approximately 75% water. Think about that for a second. A little baby would start out at around 90%. And someone, let's say, in a senior citizen home or something like that, you know, that's maybe at the last phase of their life, 70, 80, 90, whatever, they're going to be down as low as 55% water. Imagine that. I mean, over the course of a lifetime, going from 90% water to 55% water. And think about it. I mean, think how quickly a baby heals or how energized it has, or relative to, say, someone in an old folks home. And of course, my background was athletics, and of course, hydration. And when I was getting ready for competition, dehydrating was a component of contest, how good you were in a contest. I don't actually recommend dehydrating yourself intentionally. I used to have to do it as an athlete, and I learned experientially the negative effects of acute dehydration. But let's talk about a subject that's relative to everyone, and that's chronic dehydration. You see, the reality is you have these little channels in here called aquaporins, okay? Aquaporins. And they allow water to go inside the cell and out. You know, it's a little chain link fence. You can look up online if you're a scientific research, Dr. William Agger, and he won a Nobel Prize for showing how water goes inside these cells. Now, anything in here is intracellular. That's intra, okay? And oftentimes this is extracellular. Now, here's the thing. Today's world, we're faced with all these different types of water. Okay, and we're going to talk about some essential components, the 3 essential components you need to have what we call biologically optimized water. You see, you know, hundreds of years ago, you just kind of put your cup in a stream or you just drank water from rivers, but who would do that today? I mean, pollution in the world has really affected us, and it's affected our water. It also affects how well, because every time you add something to water, it's going to change how well it goes inside the cell or if it stays outside the cell. This has powerful effects on the body. So the first thing to know is recognize the chances of you being dehydrated are very high. For example, if you get up in the morning or anytime during the day and you have a dark color to your urine, that usually indicates that you've got too much acidity and that you're dehydrated. What you want is relatively clear urine. That's the easiest, simplest test. Remember, we go back to testing, you know, how to be accountable. Your water should be relatively clear. That's going to indicate that you have a high level of hydration. If you're tired, if you wake up tired a lot, or you get tired or fatigued or have brain fog, chances are that's also related to dehydration. So why does this happen? Well, what happens is today's world, we drink water that is filled with chloramine, fluoride, chloramine, okay, and an assortment of drugs that may get into water supply if you live in a municipality or a big city. Some of this has been recycled and it's been added chemicals to it. that boost pH, but also have negative effects on the body. They also change the structure of the water. And now you see that what's coming out of our tap, although we're very lucky, if you're watching this in North America, that we have water that comes to the tap, they treat it with these chemicals in order to kill the bugs. But inside our bodies, those have significant effects, chlorine. And just so you know, I'm going to refer you afterwards to a specific demonstration that I do, just demonstrating everything I'm talking about. Today, I want you to get the simple, fast facts to get you started. So one of the things is, how do we go from 90% to 55%? Well, basically, it's called chronic dehydration. And when you get chronic dehydration, what happens is you have less water inside here. And this slows down communication between not only in your cells, like your DNA and mitochondria is in here, but also outside the cells. So I cannot emphasize how important water is. And people go, well, Wade, how much water? What do I need water? I said, okay, let's look at it this way. The basic tenets, we'll erase this off the board here for a second, is if you're looking at how much water do you need per day, and we've got, of course, we talked about the urine is a good analysis as to why, or how much, if you're yellow or dark, the darker it is, usually the more dehydrated it is. But usually, you want to drink 1 ounce per pound of body weight. And you go, Wade, that's a lot of water. Well, that's true. But here's the thing. Your cell works, the individual cell, that you got 100 trillion of these cells inside your body. These things, 100 billion cells, excuse me, these things work like a hydrogen fuel cell. Okay? In other words, it generates electricity from a thing called the Krebs cycle. It's like a wheel turning around, if you can imagine, in chemistry. But basically, without water, this thing doesn't work very quickly. And what happens is your little mitochondria, they start looking for carbohydrate, sugar, chemical, whatever they can, fats, whatever they can, and this is the sense of hungry. So I have a rule. Before every meal, drink 1 liter of water. Even if you can get half this much, even if you drink half a liter. Okay? Or for a lot of people, it's around a pint, if you're using the old way of doing measurements, before every meal. Well, why do you do that? Well, most time that you feel hungry, you're actually dehydrated. We've actually misidentified hydration or dehydration with hunger. You're not hungry, you're actually thirsty. And there was a book called by Faridun Botman Gallant. Anyways, you're not sick, you're thirsty. And I highly recommend that book. Shows all the different conditions that are caused from chronic dehydration. So the basic standpoint is, I want to encourage you to start drinking the recommended dosage, 3 to 6 liters a day. That's going to be your level. So this is your goal, 3 to 6 liters per day on average. You can figure it out this way, but if you can get, or a gallon a day, even if you get a gallon jug, that's going to get you on the right track. Now, what kind of water is that going to be? I want to be clear about something. There's several different types of filtration systems, and each one has disadvantages and advantages. If you look at my book, Staying Alive in a Toxic World, we go into detail about all the different types of water, filtration and support systems for water. But let's get down to the basics today so you can start applying this today. The first thing is, you should never drink straight tap water. I mean, with the chemical components, and also federal regulations have shown that they haven't really been updated in decades. And most of the municipalities inside of North America fail the basic municipal guidelines that were set forth decades ago. And they don't count for things like chlorine and chloramine. Chlorine, for example, inside the body creates trichloramines, which have been linked to cancer. Fluoride, according to the Center for Disease Control, has been linked to obesity and also brain dysfunction. And chloramine is kind of a combination of the two, right? So, I mean, think about all this stuff. You're adding ammonia and chlorine together, and then sometimes fluoride on top of that. And then it might be from a municipality with drugs. So the basic tenet is this. Number one, you want to filter your water. So the water going into your body is going to be filtered. Going into your cells, if you're not filtering it, your kidneys and your body becomes the filter. Okay, you understand that? So people go, well, I feel fine on tap water, or I can just drink tap water. Well, that's true. You can do that for a certain period of time. But over 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you are going to build up toxins inside your fat cells. Your body will store into fat cells. And also, we believe that it contributes to the degeneration of your body on a total level. I mean, if there's one thing you want to get straight is your water. So number one, you need to have filtered water. And there are types of filters out there, everything from the little filters like Brita and that sort of stuff. Those take out the basic contaminants. That's the first start. Or you can put a filter on your sink that takes out chlorine and fluoride, and also on your shower. For example, if you're showering in your body, you're going to absorb 3, 4, 5, cups of water just from a typical shower. And one of those things that you get those scuffy little flakes on your skin, that has to do with too much chlorine that's causing the skin to peel. So that's a good indication that you probably don't want that inside your body. So the basic level is to filter your water. Now you can use that. Some people use reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis is really good for getting clean water. And so it allows you to take away all of the chemical contaminants, or most of them actually, and allows you with a very clean water. The downside of that is I find that most people who drink a lot of reverse osmosis water, we do find that they are in a state of chronic dehydration. It doesn't seem to hydrate the body well. And largely in part, I think it has to do with the deficiency in minerals that are normally present in water, because you would never find pure water in nature. Then, of course, we have, you can get into some very sophisticated machines like ozonation machines that ozonate the water. They filter it, they ozonate it. Then you can go to machines that add biophotons. Biophotons are light machines. I mean, these are getting into more advanced states. But filtering is number one. Number two, this is to get chlorine, fluoride. Oh, sorry, I got that wrong. Fluoride. I spelt that wrong. I'm not that great of a speller here. I'll clean that up. We got fluoride, action over perfection. That's our motto. So I'll just put fluoride here because I don't have a lot of room. You'll get the idea. Chlorine and chloramine. The combination of nasty chemicals that you don't want. So these things have got to get out on a minimum, filtered. Number two, you might want to go to reverse osmosis to get that out. But if you do reverse osmosis, you want to add minerals. So minerals present in the water is generally a good idea. Okay, so, and things like calcium, magnesium, and sodium, and these type of things in small levels. Some people will just add a little bit of like Himalayan salt or sea salt to the water. You can just put it in a glass or put it under your tongue before you drink it. This actually improves the absorption at a cellular level. So little tricks that you can do if you filter. So basic filters, then you might go to RO filters that add minerals, okay? And then finally you want to get to like more advanced technology, and that is what I call ionization. And ionization is a very special type of water. We're actually going to talk about that later, because I think this is the future of water and what you can do with it, and the amount of ability to change the structure. You can make waters that do all sorts of different things. But going back to your hydration thing, and then there's another form of water which you'll see that's very popular, and that is spring water. So we're going to put spring water over here. I know I have a lot of friends in the natural health industry, raw foodies and experts. They recommend spring water, but with spring water, you're going to notice there's a variety of things. You're going to see that there's a lot of challenges. Number one, you got to go find a good spring. Number two, you got to drive there to get it. So people talk about the environmental impact. I think when you're driving your car back and forth and all the time, I don't know if that's a big savings. But spring water, for the most part, is great. Most springs you do need to check for contamination. Just because it comes out of the ground and just because it comes from a spring doesn't necessarily mean that it's good for you. So get a test. If you're going to a regular spring, make sure you find out that it's tested, that it doesn't have high levels of bacteria levels in it, or weird levels of chemicals or minerals and that sort of thing, because now water tables are changing from on. And we're going to go more and more into water as we go along. So the basics are, you need to get a filter to get the chlorine, chloramine. It's good to add, minerals inside the water, and you'll find that in some of the spring water, or drink spring water. And then the final thing is this. you want to drink it out of glass bottles. Glass bottles are better than plastic. And I'm going to put plastic over here. And I'm going to circle this, and I'm going to put a big X. Plastic bottles are doing an extraordinary amount of damage. There's a great movie out there that was put on by the Canadian government, CBC documentary, which was called The Disappearing Male. And basically, it's the influence of plastic bottled water. And some of those plastics that will leach plastics into the water, and we drink that. And this is having an effect on the estrogen levels and testosterone levels of all humanity. It's also affecting the birth rates of male babies from everything from tadpoles all the way up to us, the humans. So I would check that out again. It's a CBC documentary, The Disappearing Male, and it starts to show the influence of plastics. And I think that you'll see in our lifetime that plastic bottles will go the way of the dodo bird. There are getting plastics that don't leach. However, I think to be on the safe side, go with glass or metal. The thing is, with glass, if you start ionizing and charging your water, and we'll talk about charged water later, you're going to find that glass is a better storage container for your water. So how do you go about doing this? Wade, you talked a lot about water. There's a lot of things. You know, hydration is the biggest source of energy in your life. It's the biggest source of elimination. Think of the water cell as like a DVD. It's impressionable. So if you add sugar to it, so anything that has sugar in it is going to make that water stickier. It's going to be harder to get in there. Also, carbonation. Carbonation changes the hydration level due to osmotic pressure. Also adds, remember we talked about air, you want to get carbonation out of the system. You don't necessarily want it into your water. You want more oxygen, not less. Okay. Also, a lot of plastic bottles or bottles even in glasses, if it's coming from those, you know, big name companies you see in the superstore, they'll have preservatives added to it. And one of the things that you want to avoid if you really want to get the highest levels of healing and health and high performance is you want all preservatives out of your body, because preservatives, your body just doesn't know how to process them, and they start storing up in plastics. And now they're finding, in your cells, and now they're finding plastics inside your fat cells. And we all know the negative effects of sugar. So adding sugar to your water, carbonation to your water, preservatives to your water, or having them in plastic are all things that you want to avoid. So Wade, how do I do? So get some sort of filter. Get the basics out at least. So your goal is to get this out. Number 2, you start your day with this. Number 1, you want to start your day drinking 1 liter of water. If you have a hard time drinking that water, chances are there's stuff in the water that's not that good for you. It's one of the reasons I love ionization. They filter it and ionize it. It just absorbs so much easier. But start with a liter of water before you eat and wait 15 to 20 minutes. Then, throughout the day, drink 500 milliliters or half liter to a liter sometime before each meal. So if you're eating 3 meals a day, morning you get up, drink a liter of water, have your breakfast a half hour later. Throughout the morning, drink another liter of water. Okay, then you have your lunch. Then between lunch and the evening, drink another liter of water, and then after dinner, sip away on your water. And so I just carry a container. I mean, you can go as simple as a mason jar. Super simple, right? You know, it's just put it in here, you know, keep that, carry it around. It's a great drinking device. I'll take my own advice. And so what I'm going to recommend for you is over the course of the next lessons that we go through, the rest of this course, number 1, before you start, we're going to do your deep breathing exercise, just a couple exhales. Relax, okay? Relax, then take a big drink of water. And do that before every lesson. And sit down before you watch these. And during the course of this, I'd like you to drink a whole liter of water and get your body used to it. And you'll be surprised about how well the energy, vibrancy, and how it cuts food cravings like you can't believe. So many people just change their water. Just start drinking more water. They start feeling better and they start losing weight. And simply because they stop eating so much. So that's that. The other thing is I'd like you to click on the link that we're going to add to this and go to the full water demonstration where I'm going to go into intense detail about all of this stuff, about the types of water, sodas, those effects on you, bottled water, sports drinks, tap water. I'm going to do the whole range so that you can get a visual impression about just how H2O isn't what it's all about. It's all about the structure of your water, which is more important than the chemical compounds, just like that movie said, Water, the Great Mystery. So get drinking your water today. Remember, 3 to 4 liters every single day, and believe me, you're going to feel amazing. Now get ready. We're going to get ready for the next lesson, which is coming right up.